Bonjour! Welcome to the newcomers, and welcome back for the other. Without waiting, let's begin chapter 11. 4 years earlier. I followed Landest out into the day. Wait. He held his baton to my chest. It never pays to walk blind, especially not in your own castle where familiarity hides so much, even when we have the eyes to see. We stood for a moment on the steps, blinking away the sunlight, letting the heat soak in. Released from the gloom of the schoolroom held no great surprise. 4 days in 7, my studies kept me at Landis' side, sometimes in the schoolroom, the observatory or library, but as often as not, the hours will pass in a end for wonders. Whether it was the mechanics or the siege machinery held in the Harnheim Hall, or the mystery of the boulder lights that shone without flame in the salt cellar, every part of the tall castle held the lessons that Landis could tease out. "Listen," he said. I knew this game. Landis tells that a man who can observe is a man apart. Such a man can see opportunities where others see only the obstacle on the surface of each situation. I hear wood on wood, training swords, the squires at play, I said. Some might not call it play, deeper, what else? I hear birdsong, skylarks. There it was, a silver chain of sound, dropped from an eye, so sweet and light, I'd missed it at first. Deeper! I closed my eyes. What else? Green fought red on the back of my highlights, the clack of swords, the grunts, panting, mudded scuffle of shoe on stone, the song of skylarks. What else? Fluttering. On the edge of hearing, I was probably imagining it. Good, Landis said. What is it? Not wings. It's deeper than that. Something in the wind. I said. There's no wind in the courtyard, Landis said. Up high, then. I had it. A flag! Which flag? Don't look, just tell me. Landis pressed the button harder. Not the festival flag, not the king's flag that's flown from the North Wall, not the colors, we're not at war. No, not the colors. Any curiosity in me died at that remainder of Count Renner's purchase. I wonder if they'd slain me also. Would the price of a pardon have been higher? An extra horse? Well, Landis asked. The execution flag, black on scarlet, I said. It's always been that way with me. Answers come when I stop trying to think it through and just speak. The best plan I come up with is the one that happens when I act. Good. I opened my eyes. The light no longer pained me. High above the courtyard, the execution flag streamed in a westerly breeze. Your father has ordered the dungeon cleared, Landis said. There will be quite a crowd come St. Crispin days. I knew that to be an understatement. Hangings, beheading, impalement. Oh my. I wonder if Landis will seek to shield me from the proceedings. The corner of my mouth twitched, hooked on the notion that he might imagine I'd not seen worse already. For the mass execution of the previous year, Mother had taken us to visit Lord Nothar at his estate in Helm. William and I had the fort of Helm almost to ourselves. Later, I learned that most of Ancras had converged on the tall castle to watch the sport. Terror and entertainment are weapons of statehood, Jorg. Landis kept his tone neutral, his face inscrutable save for a tightness in his lips, suggesting that the words carried a bad taste. Execution combines both elements. He gazed at the flag. Before I journeyed and fell slave to your mothers, I dwelt in Ling, in the utter east, paying in an art form. Rulers make their reputation, and that of their land, on extravagance of torture. They compete at it. We watched the squires spar. A tall knight gave instruction, sometime with his fist. For several minutes, I said nothing. I am a giant countrunner at the mercy of a Ling torture master. No, I wanted his blood and his death. I wanted him to die knowing why he died, knowing who held the sword. But his pain, let him do his burning in hell. Remind me not to go to Ling, tutor, I said. Linda smiled and led off across the courtyard. It's not on your father's maps. We passed close by the dueling square, and I recognized the knight by his armor, a dazzling set of field plate with silver inlaid into acid-etched scroll rock across the breastplate. Sir Makin of Trent, I said. I turned to face him. Landis walked on for a few paces before realizing I'd left his side. Prince Honoris, Sir Makin offered me a curt bow. Keep that guard up, Chives. A barked instruction to one of the older boy. Call me Jorg, I said. I hear my father has made you captain of the guard. He found fault with my predecessor, Sir Makin said. I hope to fulfill my duties more to the king's pleasing. I had not seen Sir Graham since the attack on our coach. I suspected that the incident cost the former captain of the guard rather more than it cost Count Renner. Let us hope so, I said. Makin ran a hand through his hair, dark and beaded with sweat from the heat of the day. He had a slightly fleshy face, expressive, but you wouldn't mistake him for someone without metal. Won't you join us, Prince Jorg? A good right feint will serve you better in times of trouble than any amount of book learning. He grinned. If your wounds are recovered sufficiently, of course. Landis settled a hand on my shoulder. The apprentice is still troubled by his injuries. He fixed those two blue eyes of his on Sir Makin. You might consider reading Proximus' thesis on the defense of royals. If you wish to avoid Sir Graham's fate, that is. It's in the library. He moved to steer me away. I resisted on nothing more than principle. I think the prince knows his own mind, tutor. Sir Makin flashed Landis a broad smile. Your Proximus can keep his advice. A knight trusts in his own judgment and the ways of his word. Sir Makin took a wooden sword from the cart on his left and offered it to me, hilt first. Come, my prince, let's see what you've got. Care to spar again, young stud here? He pointed out the smallest of the squires, a slight lad, maybe a year my senior. Him. I pointed to the biggest of them, a hulking lad of 15 with a shock of ginger head. I took the sword. Sir Makin raised an eyebrow and grinned all the wider. Robert? You'll fight Robert, will you now? He strode to the boy's side. and clapped a hand to the back of his neck. "This here is Robert Hull, third son of the House of Arn. Of all this sorry lot, is the one who might have a chance to earn his spurs one day. Got himself away with the blade as our Master Hull." He shook his head. "Try Stod." "Try none of them, Prince York." Landis kept the irritation from his voice almost. "This is foolishness. You are not yet recovered." He shot a look at the grinning guard captain. "King Oliden will not take kindly to a relapse on his only heir." Sir Macon frowned at that, but I could see it had gone too far for his pride to let him take instruction. "Go easy on him, Robert. Really easy. If this ginger oaf doesn't do his level best, I make sure the closest he gets to being a knight is clearing the horse dung after the joust," I said. I advanced on the squire, my head craned to look him in the face. Sir Macon stepped between us, a training sword in his left hand. "A quick test first, my prince. I've got to know you've enough of the basic not to get yourself hurt." The point of his blade clacked against mine and slipped away, angled from my face. I slapped it aside and made a half lunge. The knight tamed my thrust easily enough. I tried to slide to his guard, but he cut to my legs, and I barely held them. Not bad. He inclined his head. "You've had decent instruction." He pursed his lips. "You're what, 12? 10. I watched him return the trainer to the cart. He was right-handed. "All right." Sir Macon motioned the squires into a circle around us. "Let's have a duel. Robert, show the prince no mercies. He's good enough to lose without serious injury to anything but his pride." Robert squared up to me, all freckles and confidence. The moment seemed to come into focus. I felt the sun on my skin, the grit between the soles of my toes, and the flagstones. Sir Macon held his hand up. "Wait for it." I heard the silver voices of the skylark, invisible against the blue vault above us. I heard the flapping of the execution flag. "Fight!" The hand dropped. Robert came in fast, swinging low. I let my sword fall to the ground. His blow caught me on the right side, just below the ribs. I'd have been cut in two if it hadn't been made of wood, but it was. I hit him in the throat with the edge of my hand, and he turned moves that Landis had showed me. Robert went down as if a wall had dropped on him. I watched him wince, and for an instant I saw Inch in the healing hole, on his hands and knees with the fire all around us, and the blood pulsing from his back. I felt the poison in my veins, the hooks in my flesh, the simple need to kill. As pure an emotion as I have ever known. "No!" I found Landis' hand on my wrist, stopping me as I reached for the boy. "It's enough." "It's never enough." Words in my head, spoken by a voice not my own. A voice remembered from the briar and the feather bed. For several moments we watched the lad choke on the floor and turned crimson. The strangeness left me. I picked up my sword and returned it to Sir Macon. "Actually, Proximus is yours, Captain, not Landis," I said. "Proximus was a Borzen scholar, 7th century, one of your ancestors. Perhaps you should dread him after all. I'd hate to have nothing but Roberts here and his judgment between me and my enemies." But the Sir Macon shut his lips. He seemed to have run out of objections after that. He cheated! Young Stott found the words for all of them. Landis had already started walking. I turned to follow him, then looked back. It's not a game, Sir Macon. You teach these boys to play by the rules, and they're going to lose. It's not a game. And when we make a mistake, we can't buy our way out of it. Not with horses, not with gold. We reached the red gate on the far side of the courtyard. That boy could die, Landis said. I know, I said. Take me to see these prisoners that fathers to have killed. End of chapter 11. See you for chapter 12.